as Glenn from The Bad Place shows up to warn Team Cockroach that Michael isn't Michael, but Vicky in a Michael suit. Now this leads to an existential crisis because they don't know who to believe, especially when Michael lies about knowing about the Michael suit. I have to say that Glenn did a good job because I wasn't sure what to believe either. To another episode of The Rank. I'm John, and today we're going to be ranking the next episode of The Good Place. Now, for those of you who are new to the show, I'm going to give you an agenda real quick. We start with the potent notables, which are just a couple interesting facts or tidbits that I found out about the episode or series. Then I go into the episode overview, where I talk about everything that happened in the episode from beginning to end. Then I do the rank, where I rank the episode in 5 categories on the scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, all to figure out what is the best sitcom of all time. So we take a sitcom, we rank every single episode of that sitcom, and then the average of those rankings gives the series ranking. Now today we're going to be ranking the 4th episode of the 4th season of The Good Place, titled Tinker Tailor Demon Spy, written by Cord Jefferson and directed by Morgan Sackett. Now for those of you who've been watching for a while and you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing and or following, like the episode, comment. You can send me an email at info@therankpodcast.com with your questions, comments, suggestions, whatever. I will definitely email you back. And for those of you who want to support us monetarily, we're happy to take it at our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast. Now, we're going to go ahead and dive into this episode here, starting with the potent notables, but just real quick, I want you to know there will be spoilers ahead. You know, this is available on Prime Video, so stream it if you want to, but if you don't care about spoilers, then let's just continue. Okay, so here come the potent notables.
Potent notables.
So this episode aired Thursday, October 17th, 2019. Thankfully, The Good Place did not remain below 2 million, going from the low of last week's 1.924 million to this week's 2.024 million. So it gained 100,000. It's in the 9 p.m. slot, but it still lost audience from its 8:30 lead-in Perfect Harmony. And as for competition, Legacy on the CW did the worst with 800,000, but that was the only one of the broadcasters that it beat. It lost to ABC's Million Little Things, which had 4.046 million viewers, CBS's Mom, which had 5.807, and of course, NFL Thursday Night Football on Fox, which had 13.676. It also lost to the AL Championship Series on Fox Sports 1, which had 5.857 million viewers. And it lost to the NFL Thursday Night Football on the NFL Network. So it lost to it on Fox and on the NFL Network. And it also lost to Hannity and Maddow. Okay, I was trying to skip past these, but Antonio made me make another recording of this so that he could edit it in.
When will the lies end?
The Thursday night game was Chiefs versus Broncos, where the Chiefs destroyed the Broncos 30-6, and the AL Championship Series was the Yankees versus the Astros, and this was Game 4, where the Astros beat the Yankees 8-3, and they would go on to beat the Yankees in 6 games. Happy, Antonio?
No, I'm not.
Sorry, everybody. All right, our next and last potent notable. First of all, let's talk references. So the title of this episode was a reference to the movie Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and the reference to Sarah Michelle Gellar as a chef crying in her soup was to the movie Simply Irresistible. And when Michael was going to vaporize himself, he said, "Take it sleazy." That was a reference to the first season, as that was one of the phrases he said he always wanted to say. So there you go. Second potent notable and final potent notable is just talking about the references that they made. Sorry. All right, let's go to the episode overview. So we open the episode with everyone playing Pictionary. Not just any Pictionary though, a version of Pictionary where your drawings come to life if they're guessed right. Now that works out real well when Tahani draws a monarch butterfly, but when Chidi draws a horse really poorly, it doesn't work out as well. I expected the story of this episode to be sort of a continuation of what we've been seeing, trying to figure out how to get people to work on themselves. And that's how it starts out, but what it turns into is almost a bottle episode, with the Bad Place continuing to sow discord as Glenn from the Bad Place shows up to warn Team Cockroach that Michael isn't Michael, but Vicky in a Michael suit. Now this leads to an existential crisis because they don't know who to believe, especially when Michael lies about knowing about the Michael suit. I have to say that Glenn did a good job because I wasn't sure what to believe either, though I was convinced that Glenn was just trying to sabotage them. Also, Glenn was the mysterious figure on the handcar that was traveling to the neighborhood that we talked about at the end of the last episode. Now, one thing I have to discuss is the fact that I was kind of ripping on the show a little bit for the whole Michael was having a breakdown on purpose to get Eleanor to take the job thing, and that she was the only one that could do it. It turns out he was lying about that, just to motivate her, and you know what? I like that a lot more. It felt like bullshit to me at the time, and I'm glad they corrected it. But it was these lies lies that started making Eleanor distrustful of Michael. So they have Janet make a lie detector. When Janet comes back, she's built a lie detector that doesn't really work as it blows up poor Glenn. Though we find out that he'll end up just reconstituting at some point over the next few months. So obviously they can't do that to Michael, so they ask him to take off his Michael suit. But he doesn't want to because he's a 6,000 foot flaming squid. Now part of the reason is that he thinks it'll disrupt the experiment, but the other more pressing reason is that he doesn't think that his friends will be able to look at him the same way again if he were to do it, despite Jason's arguments to the contrary. Now I'm with Jason here. I want to see what he looks like without the Michael suit on. It sounds amazing and terrifying. As it turns out, Michael is Michael, and Glenn wasn't trying to screw things up. I like the idea that Michael had instilled some doubt into Glenn, but if Michael is Michael and Glenn wasn't trying to sabotage, was there some sabotage going on? Well, Jason is going to save the day. He realizes that when Janet doesn't correct him when he calls her a girl, that it's not the real Janet. He handcuffs her with magnets, and it turns out that Janet is actually a bad Janet, and that the real Janet was kidnapped when they sent the other demon back to the bad place. It's funny because I thought at the time when I watched it, now I can't remember if I said it in the rankings or not, that it was so odd that Janet was giving Tahani bad advice.
Flashback.
Tahani is still trying to figure out how to get to John, all while Janet is giving her bad advice. It was weird that Janet was giving bad advice.
End of flashback.
Anyway, this was a fun, well put together, multiple episodes spanning sort of whodunit that I really enjoyed. Does my enjoyment equal laughs though? And if not, does it hurt the rank? Let's find out.
A rank.
So the rank is where I rank the episode based on 5 categories: story, acting, dialogue, episode coherence, and character relatability. I rank it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And then I have a laugh counter where I tally up the amount of times the episode made me laugh out loud. 1 point per laugh out loud gets added to the score. But before I dive into the rankings, I just want to say if you're enjoying this episode, please leave a like down below. It really does help me out. But without further ado, let's go to story, which I gave a 5. The story being about a discovery of a mole in their midst was a lot of fun. I liked that they snuck in things throughout the season's previous episodes that could have struck people as odd and fitted into the plot for this one. Like Janet giving bad advice or Michael saying that he freaked out on purpose. It just was well crafted, well done. So let's go to the next category, which is a 5. And for those of you who have been watching all of these Good Place episodes or listening to all these Good Place episodes, you're not surprised by this. It's just everybody's excellent. I don't even know what to say anymore. They're just great. So let's go to dialogue, which I gave a 4. Plotting and everything is great. However, this episode just didn't pack a lot of laughs, and there were a few misses, like Derek showing up. All in all, excellent though. So let's go to episode coherence, which I gave a 4.85. Derek showing up at all was unnecessary. It wasn't terrible or anything, and it was such a small amount of time, but because he showed up at all and didn't further any plot or anything, I dropped it by 0.15. Otherwise, perfect. So let's go to character relatability, which I give a 5. This show continues to produce incredible relatability with its characters. It's kind of even more significant considering that a lot of the characters aren't even actually human. You can feel both Eleanor's and Michael's concerns throughout, and Jason is really getting better all the time. Just awesome. All right, so those are some pretty decent rankings. So as long as it has a decent laugh counter, it's going to end up in the top 3 tiers. And so the laugh counter was 11. So not a super amount of laughs, not terrible, but you know, it's been better. And this puts the episode total at a 34.85, which means it just barely missed the Holy Grail, and it's in, I'd watch it again. This puts the series average at a 37.9, which is in the Holy Grail, but it's the first time it's been below a 38 in a while. So not a good trend. All right, well, thanks for listening and or watching. If you'd like to see a list of our episode and series rankings, you can do that on our website at therankpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe, review, and comment, and please consider supporting us on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast, where you can get access to all of our archived episodes. And again, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like down below. It really does help me out. But I will leave you with this. Who's actually in the Michael suit? Gary Oldman, obviously.
You're not even trying anymore, are you?
I don't care. I don't care. Okay, I was trying to skip past these, but Antonio...
Cut!
Okay, I was trying to skip past these, but Antonio made me make another recording for...
Cut!
Okay, I was trying to skip past these, but Antonio made me make another recording of this.
I didn't make him do it.